Hello, it's Prince Easy, and well, as usual, let's get to it. Right, on this segment, we're gonna have narrative control. Right, narrative control. I've not forgotten about the others; they are there, but we need to focus on this one for now. Okay. So they're saying that it has moved from 1 degree to 1.5 degree. And in simple terms, all I can say is this, is that yes, this phenomenon is happening. The reason for it happening might be artificial, might be just God doing it, right? But regardless, they seem to be using it as a cover to run their agendas, right? Talking about gliding through a storm. Yeah. So now they're talking about, I don't know, dormant, double-strained stuff coming out of that ice that might make people sick. Or, I don't know, the entire world might drown. Now they are coming up with concept of cities that can actually float on water, right? Like a whole city, a fortress, right? Well, think of it as an operation and as a cover for whatever they are trying to do to control the narrative of the apocalypse. Okay, because the truth is coming out and they have to control what people perceive of that truth. Eh? That's what is happening here. That's the war, right? So, adapt. Recolonization, right? Well, they keep talking about it. Well, how are they going to pull it off, really? Let's talk about it. You know, these really powerful companies, not really nations, because they do not represent the interests of the peoples directly anyway, because there's the issue of consent and truth, right? So these corporations, how did they colonize Africa, right? They first sent spies to look for vulnerabilities, maybe tribal conflicts, maybe religious differences, right? And they probe these differences and they study these differences and they exploit these differences, but it all begins with information, right? So after they've gathered these weak points or vulnerabilities or weak chains or weak links, well, they yank them, right? They might come to a place where two parties are fighting a ridiculous situation over a ridiculous reason. So they might decide to arm one group in the pretense that they are helping to, they have chosen the right or the righteous party, and they are rewarding this righteous party for being righteous. And in reality, they are just creating more instability to serve their purpose, whatever that may be, mostly resources, right? Because I usually watch this channel Sankofa, and really what the picture is painted is that pre-colonial times, the Europeans, the situation outside of Africa was actually really terrible and like disease-ridden and stuff like that, right? So they had like shortage of like everything from a workforce to resources to actually recover from their whole situation and attain their power and stuff like that, right? So it hasn't really changed. It hasn't really changed, right? They are still using mercenaries, right? They're still using mercenaries because in reality, this is some kind of gray area, right? It's some kind of gray area, right? Like clandestine operations, yeah? They exist in this gray area, right? This is the age of the spies, right? Because it's about information. It's about that. Okay, so if you know what they're collecting about you and what vulnerabilities they're probing, then you can preemptively protect yourself if that's even a thing. They might call it, I don't know, the porcupine military philosophy or whatever. But that's how it goes, right? They're opportunists, yeah? Even, believe it or not, most animals that hunt, they're opportunistic, right? They're opportunistic. So they look for an opportunity and then they pounce upon that opportunity. Now you have to recognize and look for that opportunity, right? This thing about me hearing these external companies just buying up mines like it's some sort of sale day or something like that, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And do not attack the man for saying it, because I said it first. I did. Okay, I did. But people do not listen. They just hold hands and sing along to this oppressive regime that the world is against the black man. And in reality, it's just like self-destructive within itself, you know. We are constantly put in a state of tense desperation, you know. They are very good at this type of war, right? The nation of those people who say they're Jews but are not, they are really good at fighting the war of attrition, right? But the Russians are really good at defending themselves against that atrocious war, right? This is the situation that they are in, you know, and from my perspective, that's what is happening to you right there. And you're just basically a pawn to their scheme. So, like what Putin told the Europeans, stop. Just stop. You know, I've said this before, I've used this exact phrasing. Stop. Just stop. Okay? So, we live in a loop type of situation, right? Where we keep repeating our mistakes. But in reality, it's that we just forget the lessons. We forget the lessons. We think it might not repeat itself. We are not stupid enough for it to repeat itself, but we see it repeating itself, don't we? So, yeah. So, this UN food guy comes out and says that nations have to stop buying weapons and invest in food and other important things like that, you know. We're in a state of war. It's not the fault of the peoples of the earth. We're in a state of war because of a few people, a few group of people that the world does not seem to acknowledge that exists. And that's the problem right there. We can't solve a problem that one denies exists in the first place, right? And that's the situation and the stalemate that we find ourselves today, and basically and practically making everything feel like a bad joke. Yeah, feeling like a real bad joke. So Super Bowl commercials, blue and red. I talked about Super Bowl commercials in the previous video, right? You can look at montages, yeah, this years especially, right? People have done decodings and this and that. They see the symbolism, but in reality they don't understand the meaning of it. They say it's just a theme they keep repeating, right? Fire and ice, fire and ice. Yeah, this guy frozen in a tub and eating spicy chicken, and this guy walking on coals of fire and then wearing shoes that are somehow connected to ice. All of this symbolism, what does it mean? Well, let's examine the forces themselves, fire and ice. They are two separate forces at the end of the spectrum, each one of them, end of the spectrum, right? If we had a temperature spectrum, heat will be one side and the cold will be the other, right? And it's even in their nature, right? Friction is chaotic, fire is chaotic, right? And it causes all of these things to happen where these things do not happen, rather, in other regions, like places where there's a lot of ice. Where there's ice, there's silence, there's like life over there is just different from places where heat is active, right? We see a lot of things where heat is active, especially the tropics. Okay, so they're talking in symbolism, yes, but this is exactly what they mean, okay? And this whole video is going to be dedicated to that. I I have this repeating word that I keep saying and I keep using, follow the blue, follow the blue, follow the blue. We're going to talk about why the blue, okay, in detail, why the blue, and I'm going to show you the hands of the devil at play, right? Or in places that you can never imagine, right? So the ritual, the meaning, and of course, as usual, watch the black man. As these people are reviewing these commercials, they forgot to watch the black man. Watch the black man, right? Watch the black man. And they also showcased a lot of memory loss simulation. Okay, remember that movie I talked about in the previous video? That movie, that Korean or Japanese movie called Love Reset. I talked about it, and basically in that movie, a couple loses their memory prior they wanted to really have a divorce. They were literally ice and fire, right? They were ice and fire, and they wanted to get a divorce, but they lost their memories and they fell in love again, right? And I showed you the symbolism, and really we're gonna go into detail of what those symbolism really mean, right? It's just a memory loss simulation, right? I can tell you this because it's part of my my life, because it's not a ritual, it's a thing they're doing. They're attacking my memory, right? Because there are many ways, believe it or not, to stagnate the kingdom, okay, in their minds, right? And they're learning all of these simulations to see what they will do to achieve this, right? And one of them is really not killing me, but making me forget, to buy themselves time. I told you this is what that is about, buying themselves time, because the end for them is inevitable, right? So they need to buy themselves time to change the judgment or to do other things, but it's all about time, okay? It's all about time. So we see Asha in the Uber Eats commercial, okay? I know why they use the Uber, I know personally why they used the Uber in my personal life. So I know that was a personal attack, right? And we see him like he done lost his memory, and people don't get it, you know. They're talking in code, you know, they're talking in code, right? If they can make you forget your memory, then they can, quote unquote, possess you. Do you understand what I mean? If you lose your memory, you will be possessed, right? If you look at the root word possession, is having control over, or something like that, you know, in the context of what we're talking about, right? So the people that have retained memory in whatever form it may be, then get to decide, you understand? So they possess the people. So for instance, some sort of thing like I've been experiencing, okay, I don't have issue about losing my memory. I don't have issues with nothing like that. But really, whatever they're doing to me makes me like they impair the ability to make new memories, right? That's just combination of their many weapons that they use, right? One of their recent one that they deployed today is the one in the back of my head, you know. Some of you might be victims of this and you might not know, but they have these things where they attach to the back of your head, right? Where your neck meets your head, somewhere there, and it causes the effects of itchy hair in that area right there. And I've learned that it is actually some sort of technology. Now I don't know if it is I don't know the nature of it precisely. I would need some sort of microscope and further examination, but it exists, and the human mind is the frontier, right? As the scripture say, you know, if you see that the devil has taken up the seat of God, right, has taken over the temple, which is happening right now before our eyes, right, then you know that it is almost being fulfilled, right? The iniquity is almost complete, and a full package of their payment will be delivered upon them, right? Upon them. So we shall get back to the whole fire and ice situation, right, in detail, right? But in short, it's about the two princes, yeah, the prince of Judah and the prince of Babylon. So let's talk about the Kenya West phenomenon, which is also about that, right? He talks and brags about his relationship with the Jew, right? He talks about his relationship with the Jews, and people are misunderstanding what he's saying because the message is not really meant for them, right? They are mocking the prince by pairing the prince, right? That's why Kanye has been acting like a Christ of some kind, right? A Messiah of some kind, walking on water, doing all of these things. That is just mocking the Prince of Judah, just mocking me. And this development of whatever is happening right now is just that ritual that fire and ice have come together, you know. Fire and ice have come together. They've learned to exist. Two ends of the seed that were not meant together. If we merge, then we have literally defeated God, right? We have literally turned God into a villain, right? If the seed of the serpent and the seed of man unite in friendship, that is the meaning of it. Okay, that is the meaning of it, and that will cause destruction of the earth, right? Hence the reset they've been talking about. So they are triggering something. They are triggering something, and they're using that nation in the Middle East as as a launching pad of some kind, okay, among many. So whatever Kanye is doing is just meant for me. Most people will not understand it unless I put it into context, okay? So Kanye is playing the prince, and that woman, if you look at her name, she will have something related to Babylon the whole, right? That's why at one point Kanye was just dripped in this whole red costume, and he likes that and this because they are symbolizing and they are cursing me to lead me to possession, right? They're trying to possess the Prince of Judah, right? Like them trying to say, like, we are going to have to have control over this person in order to basically continue our bloodline. Okay, this is what it's about. So this war is literally very, very serious. Okay, because it's about existence, ours against theirs. Okay, and this animosity is actually a holy animosity. Okay, because one brother has picked up arms against the other, right? And has killed the other. So recompense has to be paid, retribution has to be paid, and the brother that initiated all of this will pay that price, right? Will pay that price. So he's basically just running a simulation, okay, running a simulation. Meanwhile, just ruining my credibility, okay? Because remember, this is just a mental warfare, right? So if he conducts himself as a prince and he treats himself as a prince and he says all of these words that basically put him in an influential position and get people listening, right, to what he's actually saying. Actually, what he's saying is actually very thought-provocative. You know, people get in their emotions over these things because they have been programmed. But if they really listen to what the guy is saying, he ain't lying. Okay, he ain't lying. So he's like, he's a perfect puppet, you know, since way back, you know. Since way back, you know, this Jesus persona Kanye West has been playing is not a new one, okay? It's not a new one, okay? But people don't understand why, okay? Why is he doing it right now? Is it just to mock Christians? Do you think that's the end? What does that give them exactly? You know, what does that give them exactly? To get people to undermine Christianity, is it having that effect? Actually, the opposite is happening. Actually, the opposite is happening. So they're up to something, okay? And that something is, this is what we are talking about in these vlogs here in this channel, right? And I'm just here to give you context and to show you and to point to you, like, this is the truth. Look at this. Look at what they've been doing. Look at the mockery and why they're mocking, right? So let's move on. So we have this black exploitation theme going on, and at the forefront of this, believe it or not, is the black American. Is at the forefront of this situation, and in reality it's just dealing more damage. Yeah, because they're going to use the black American is a perfect bridge to trap a prince. You know, it's a perfect bridge, because if I were to say, I don't know, end up with a black woman, but in reality they're being indoctrinated by Babylon, then it's just a win-win situation for them. It's a win-win situation for them. So me personally, I cannot make it about race either. Right? It's about the spirit. It's about the spirit, and that's what we are dealing with here. You know, all of this above is just a distraction, and people need to dig deeper and to look further than most people are lazy, believe it or not. Most people are lazy. They look at things in the surface level, since they have context of the same symbolism before, that's where they end, you know. But the why is the most hardest question to ask. Why? and especially why now, among many questions that start with the why, right? If you understand the why, you're gonna go somewhere. You're gonna go somewhere, because why will take you to some wild places, right? To some really wild places. Some of them are a result of your own interpretation of phenomenon, and the other is just part of the programming or pre-programming that exists within people's minds today, right? Like this whole situation I just explained to you here. What's the relevancy of Kanye West walking on water in 2023? What does that do to Christianity exactly? What? If you add the phenomenon that they have been lying and have been keeping secret that the prince is coming and has been prophesied since the beginning, oh, you can't understand whatever they're doing. It would not make sense. Trust me. Okay, trust me. Okay, so do not hold on to these false ideas and stuff like that. The truth is simple. The truth is quite simple, right? So we have babas, we have preachers, we have gangs, we have pimps, and we have barbecues. That's it. That's it. Eh? The famous movies, Barbershop. Friday, what is it about? Gangs, barbershop. It's literally about decrowning niggas. It's literally about decrowning niggas. And niggas are playing this role of decrowning niggas. Right? What do you think going back to America means? It's a decrowning ritual. Okay, because this guy was ready to leave his crown for this woman. Okay, that's how ridiculous that movie was, and it's really dark. It's really dark. Okay, and that woman, you observe the colors. That woman has a very specific color palette. I showed them in this vlogs way back when. I don't know, in the deleted channel or this particular channel. Okay, but you can rewatch the movie, all of them. Back to America. They're about Eddie Murphy playing a prince from Africa, some rich nation in Africa, whose symbol is a lion, and basically he's looking for a wife, and the most important decision a man could make in his position. And he goes to America and ends up with this basically mixed race woman, and it's a whole scene. It's a whole scene, but it's basically that fire and ice. They're trying to mix these two bloodlines, and they think the prince will be the ultimate secure in that position, because the prince is the leader of the army, right? We lead the army here on earth, okay, taking orders from above, right? So if they have a infiltration unit near the prince, going back to that whole simulation of memory loss, then they can control the situation, right? And it's quite easy right now. It's quite easy. Okay, so all of these things, they are repeating the same thing, right? I've talked about literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of these 6 agendas up to the black exploitation are going up. They are all related to Zion and the prince in one way or the other. They are, right? They are. Even the disease X situation, they keep crying wolf about. They're exactly crying wolf, threatening the piggies in the house to come out, or they'll huff and puff and blow their whole house away. What do you think that metaphor is about? Wolves. Okay, and the pigs have a connection, right? Christ cast the demons into the pigs. Not because the pigs were filthy, but they were made to bear that burden that man was supposed to bear, right? So it was used as a tool for cleaning. Okay, it was used as a tool for cleaning. Okay, so this misinterpretation that exists today, like Christ literally carried our sins, right? He literally became the pig, right? So that whole metaphor is biblical. Okay, that 3 pigs and a wolf and stuff like that. And the houses represent kingdoms, right? They built the first kingdom, it was blown away. They built the second kingdom, it was blown away. The third kingdom, yeah? And then they built a kingdom out of stone, right? The cornerstone, the stone that the builders refused. You see the symbolism? Okay, so they are programming people to hate Christ indirectly, yeah, indirectly, but the effects are very, very real and very, very connected in that case. Okay, this is me just veering away into other situations, but I have a point to make. So even this black exploitation phenomenon, okay, they're literally using black people, those people who will return to Zion as infiltration units. Okay, just like in the Terminator unit, yeah, Terminator franchise, right? The robots figure out like, yo, killing these people with flesh of iron is not effective. We should take the flesh of man and destroy the thing from within. Yeah. So that what is happening right now. Okay, that's what is happening. That's what has been happening to you over there and to me myself. Okay, so do not become the tool. Okay, right now I see the animosity between the Negroes over there in outside Africa and the ones inside here, and it's just a product of the psyops. Okay, this animosity is the intention, is the now we have to find some common ground. While we share a same background, we share the same struggles, now we have to find some sort of compromise, right? We have to somehow accommodate black homosexuals here in Africa. They are exodizing, yeah? They are quitting Babylon, they are returning home, but they are returning home with those ideas of Babylon. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, like take niggas from Chicago in some like hot places. Do you think they'll survive here in Africa? It's like these questions like people need to ask themselves. I know I keep talking about these things, but this is the call to the spirit. If your spirit is moving you to move away from Babylon physically and metaphorically, then that's who I'm talking to. You have already made the decision. But since most people haven't, then it becomes a whole situation, right? It becomes a whole situation. And arguments arise. I don't know. I don't know, some of them come over here expecting privilege, and some Africans are just basically giving these Babylon Negroes some crash courses in African tradition and life, like some hard lessons. That's what I see. That's what I see. I've seen some stories and they're sad. In some past Africans, and the whole migration situation is just a mess, and the other is just just them having expectations that have not been met, that leaves them with disappointment and hatred for where they come from. And some of them even go as far as to say that they are not even African to begin with. Maybe they regard themselves as Indians, you know. You know, do you know what Indians believe? You know, they believe in Babylon. Believe it or not, you know, they believe in Babylon. So it's a whole situation that we have here, right? It's a whole situation we have here, and those ears that will listen and will be given the eyes to see what I'm saying, you cannot unsee it. Trust me. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Okay, just like everything else that most people have caught on, right? If you see it, you cannot unsee it, and the more obvious it's gonna be to you, right? And that's my whole point here. Just to make you see, just to point it out. Like, do you see that? Do you see this? Do you see that? Do you know what that means? Do you know how that affects you? And I keep emphasizing it's all about follow the black man. Because the black man is Judah, and that's what they've been hiding, right? With all their flags having lions, you know, like you over there in Europe, nigga. How do you get lions on your flag, my nigga? Like you is a thieving bastard, you. Okay, we here in Zion we can literally have lions as our flag because we have the most lions in the entire earth. Right? Here in Africa, people have lions, and not even all parts of Africa have lions. Believe that. We would be the ones to use lions as a symbols, not people over there in Europe. Like, what? So you just picked up this exotic animal and now it's the symbol of your kingdom. The animal is not even indigenous. It goes against the history of symbolism itself, and people, it's right there in their face and people are not saying it. And I don't know, I find it interesting, and I'm determined to break that programming by probing it and poking holes in it and questioning the logic, right? We see lions in all of these monarchs over there in Europe. Like, what's the relationship, you know? What's the relationship? Right now, the same thing is happening, okay? They have nations, the animal of the nation, right? It's not some foreign animal. Why would you do that? Okay, because that life is not, the life and the area and the locale is not sustainable for that creature, so it won't grow as it should. So it shouldn't even be on your situation, right? But this is just more of them showing out what type of thieving people they are. And I don't know, some people might be not unaware of what happened and what their ancestors did, you know. Well, if you don't know, then you're not guilty of anything. But if you know, then you have the responsibility to do something about it, and do something about it real quick. Okay, because when that payment comes, it will come. Okay, the Lord says, when he unsheathes his sword, he won't go back. Okay, that sword will not go back. Right? And as I'm being reminded here, they hit us with another disease. Okay, so all of you take precautions, yeah? Take some oranges. Those are highly effective. Yeah? And you know, when you feel some, be careful about it, you know, especially those people with heart situations, yeah, heart situation and brain situations. Okay, you have been made to bear my cross. You have been made to bear my cross, right? So offer your pain and your sacrifice to Christ for the salvation of others, right? To get more people to wake up to the reality that God actually exists and demons exist also. And there's a war that has been going on, and people have not been fighting this war because they don't know really how to fight that war. And do not be shy to admit this fact. That's what makes me relevant. I'm equipped to fight the war, right? You might been in this war for a long time, but you might not been hitting the right places, hence making the fight last longer for no reason. But that lasting longer was just God working against Judah and Israel in general. We are in punishment, but no longer. Okay, so whatever is happening now will be paid to them as recompense. Okay, all of these bioweapons will come back to them. All of these engineered economic situations will hit them also. And that's what they're afraid of. So what do? They come here. They have to come here. Okay? They have to come here. They have no other option. Okay, sorry if the screen keeps turning off. But I hope it recorded that part. They have to come here. Their livelihood and their lives depend on it. Right? In whatever phrasing or understanding you want to put it at, economic, social, or whatever. As the Lord says, salvation shall come from Israel. Okay, the salvation of the entire human race shall come from Israel, and that did not change. Right? Hence, we have even Christ himself coming from the tribe of Judah. Right? So there's a consistency that people keep forgetting and keep ignoring because it's so much of a hassle. They wanna tippy-toe over algorithms. Well, I don't care. I don't care. Okay, I don't really care. I say the truth, and damned whatever happened after that. Okay, we are in here because of people keep lying and lying and lying and keep misinforming each other. So we're in this perpetual cycle of just the devil buying time. Right? So we shall come back to that because, like I said, from black exploitation going up, even this, well, what is the future of what we know as education in the light of Neuralink and stuff like that? And well, what is the trend now? Take out the most recent developments of, augmented reality or virtual reality. Just keep the computers, keep the mobile phone, for instance, and go back to paper. And what has been the trend with the youth, because, when you say the life expectancy of a Tanzanian person, for instance, is 60. Do you know the amount of pressure that puts on a person, a younger person? Time rather becomes some kind of, that's why they keep saying, YOLO, YOLO, YOLO. You only live once, Therefore, die forever young, forever young, forever young. Die young, die young. This is just a psyop, and you have to think even of the systems that these colonial masters left us. They're exactly that. Systems of oppression. Do not be blind to that fact. I've been talking about it. I've been forcing and poking at people to take control. Not to just let things escalate as if it is natural progression of some kind. No, it is engineered progress. Okay, so we have to take control over the narrative. Okay, we have to take control over our minds. Okay, because that's what they're after. That's what they intend to possess. Okay, because the head leads the body. Right? The head leads the body in a true sense. Right? So they want to control the prince so as to control the body. But the more I know of them, then their plans get ruined. Their plans get ruined and their curses get undone. So most importantly, take what I say here and put it in the back of your head. Okay, metaphorically. Not literally, but put it somewhere in your mind, and trust me, you'll find out what I'm saying is true. I have no doubt about it. Okay, I have zero doubt about it. But it has to be a hustle, because there's a lot of things at play here, because pride increases as knowledge increases. So everybody thinks that they are knowledgeable. I'm not a knowledgeable person. I haven't read enough to know what I know. I haven't seen enough to know what I know. I'm an inspired person. That is the next level of existence. Inspired people. We do not need to keep memories, nor cling to ideas in books. That is the type that's what stagnates development. Literally, if people keep relearning the same things over and over and over and over, and we keep expecting different results, then that is literally the definition of madness. Some supposed genius said this, right? How are we supposed to move away from pulleys, for instance, those pulleys in physics, right? How are people supposed to move away from it if people keep being indoctrinated by the same design? They're not pushed to figure out and discover new ways to do things. Why is that? Because it's about control. It's about control. It's that same colonial mentality that exists. So when somebody comes out and says something and it seems like, what? That's unusual, like, what? He said it? I like these kind of people. People who come out, kama huyo jamaa yule mzee alitoka kusema kwamba kwa nini wanafunzi wasiingie siku 3 kwa wiki, kwa nini? This is the type of people I want to deal with. Watu ambao hawaogopi to take control, to expand their minds, to think outside the box for once. Okay, to use your noggin to think. For me, it is. I have had mental practices, right? I have had mental practices by actually producing things. It's important to produce things. I produce things. Right? So if you produce things, there's a learning thing that happens over there. Okay? That process of you learning how to produce and actually producing something, going through with it, gives you an unforgettable lesson that can be applied to many other facets of human life. You learn patience. A stay-at-home mom and a working mom, they are two different moms. They are both moms, yes, but their spirit is different. The working mom is more aggressive, and the stay-at-home mom is gentle. So what do you think men would prefer? Men did not create this situation. Let me remind you this. What do you think men would prefer? And it's actually a necessity. because that's the world that we're living. That's what they call the rat race. You know, the rat race ruins innocence, believe it or not. The rat race itself, not money. Okay? Money is the power to act upon those ideas that were installed in the brain while struggling to find this money. You know, that hatred, that envy, jealousy, they all blossom. People need these things to make money, literally. Even those successful people, they're the most jealous people. I have never, for me in my life, I think I was created like this, you know. Like, I always heard these stories that, you know, people who cry because somebody else has gotten better grades than them, they literally burst into tears crying. So what? This is what the education system is supposed to produce. Do you know how many people kill themselves because of failing nectar? They literally kill themselves for failing exams. It's a pandemic in Europe, in Asia, everywhere, even here in Africa. And we call that an educating system, and we call ourselves civilized people. This is a joke. Okay, I'm sorry I'm being aggressive at this time because, again, I'm war. I've said this. Okay, that is madness. Have practice creating and start with the small things. Believe it or not, start with small. Produce something. Push people to produce. Okay, push people to produce anything. They will learn something that will be useful. Okay, and again, I'm speaking from I don't know, a privileged position, but again, it's not that I didn't suffer the same things that other people suffered, you know, hurdles and stuff like that, you know. But again, I found way to pull through. You know, I was fascinated with videos. I was deep into videos, and I went deep into videos like it's nobody's business. Right? And now I know the craft, and I'm comfortable with the craft. Hata uniamsha saa 8 usiku, give me a camera, give me a subject, I'ma make something. Despite the bottlenecks that exist at that particular time, they don't matter to me because I'm highly adaptive. It's not that there's a new bottleneck that I'll face in the near future pertaining to a device called camera. No, man. Okay, as of now, I'm really comfortable. Why? Because I started doing it. I even shot videos with my phone, Techno C9. I did videos with that. So if there is a situation, there's an environment where creativity is actually blossoming, then we'll have a stable civilization, right? People will not kill themselves because they do not fit in to a certain rhetoric or story that some idiot created in some office for the entirety of the country. Okay? You can't have a education policy without the involvement of the entirety of freaking society. The entirety, in every aspect of it. You need religious people over there. You need psychologists over there, nigga. You need everybody, mothers, even the students themselves, because they'll tell you, we are spending too much time in school. I literally had back problems because of the backpack that I was carrying during primary school. I got back problems into my teens. Severe back problems. I'm talking diklopa mara 3 kwa siku. literally going into the toilet, nakojua hivi nasikia harufu tu ya diclopa, the whole toilet smells like pain medication. Now if you took me and lifted me into Babylon, I would be dead by now, because over there they have Xanax. They have all of these powerful, most popular medications, and I would get a prescription. Trust me, I was suffering. I had problems with my neck. I had problems with my back. I was like literally like an old man. I was so accustomed to pain, like I didn't even feel it anymore. And most people have not even reached that degree. You move a leg, you complain. No. I used to crack my neck so many times because of the pressure that was built up in my neck, to an extent that people thought I was somehow break dancing and dancing to music in my head, because they like, this is not serious, this cannot be happening. Okay, the whole of my secondary was ruined by that situation. Now this is just one person, my personal life. I can tell you how monumentally that environment in the school helped me and actually literally destroyed me, because it's colonial, it's oppressive. So whatever it is doing right now, it is meant to do exactly that. It has goals and it is achieving its goals, and people are just standing by in the sidelines trying to still figure out the game. Like, what? Don't you know the results? Nigga, don't you have enough results to know how your education system is going? You can map the results. It's quite simple. You just draw a simple graph. Take from the first time the National Examination Council offered exams, right? Take the success rate and use that as the first point and graph it every year. Just put a point. This year, 25%. This year, 50%. This year, 3%. Just graph it, and you'll see why. You literally see the answer right there. Why people are literally just dropping out. They have had enough. Right? They have had enough, because it is the school does not even want them there in the first place. I know a lot of people that do not feel that they belong in school, and that's a very dangerous environment. So it is based on that. That's what our education system is. It's based on rejecting and accepting individuals, right? It is based on that, rejecting and accepting. And you don't have to say it. The marks that you offer, the merits that you give to those people who have done exactly what you wanted, has eerie similarities with slavery. Eerie similarities. But I digress. Okay? So it's still producing people to work in plantations like it is meant to do. So do not be complaining things are not working out. Do not be complaining teachers are incompetent. The teachers are literally the product of the education system. So their incompetency is not their own. It's the incompetency of their fathers and their fathers. So who began all of this thing? Babylon. Point blank. It's a Babylonian type of system. It is a privilege type of situation. Look at the first people to be educated over here in Africa. They are literally royalty. It was a privilege to go into these indoctrination situations, right? And believe it or not, I do not hate the buildings, what people call school. I do not hate it. I think it could be repurposed. That's what I'm talking about here. It's about the purpose of why people go over there. And believe it or not, most talents die over there. Most talents die over there. I have seen it. Right? I used to know this guy. You know, I'm looking back to my life, like I've been close to these people that, you know, I've been keeping them on track, you know, I've just moved by a lot of things, you know. So I knew this guy, you know, back when in primary, when I was somewhere in standard 4, you know. I knew this guy, you know, and he was quite a painter, you know. He could draw, especially cartoons. He could design new characters. We used to have fun, you know. We used to literally have so much fun, and he was highly creative. But now I ask him, he tells me like I've forgotten how to draw. What? Forgotten how to draw? I haven't forgotten any skills I have picked up since since I was young, any of them. But where do you think they lost that situation? In school. They lost it in school. Because school programs out the practical side of life out of people's mind and put them in this other dimension where arguments and dogmas are literally what runs the whole situation. Like, sorry about that. School is dogmatic. It's not a learning situation. People don't learn anything. They go over there to be dogmatized. Right? They tell you the speed of light. Do you know that the speed of light does not exist? Do you know what that did to me exactly when I found that out? When I was really young? Actually, the speed of sound and the speed of light do not exist. All of these are literally relative terms, and these people actually call themselves scientists. What? Speed of light in what medium, for instance? So you can't have no standard speed of light for nothing, because it is based on circumstance or situation. But they keep dogmatizing people with foolish ideas like space and stuff like that. So let's talk about the Gregoric dates, the Gregorian calendar. Right? Remember, the people who made the Gregorian calendars, believe it or not, it's an uncomfortable truth, but it has to be said. It is all those people who stole our identity. They're part and parcel. Not all of them might be responsible, but the engineers, it's all about the leaders, right? The engineers of this scam wanted to make a joke out of it, you know? And if you read scripture, okay, let me not speak out of context, because some people might try to come after me and something like that. Use scripture to come after me, okay? Just renounce what I just said. Yeah, simple as that. Let's see if you win. Okay, so why did the Lord make the moon and the sun and the stars? To tell seasons, right? Seasons, right? And there are exactly 13 phases of the moon, so they say. So it is. So if after every 30 about days it changes, then why do we have 12 months? Like I've said in the videos above, it's about buying time, right? If you change a minute, believe it or not, it will end up changing the whole year. And the whole year will end up changing a decade, and decade will change a millennium. It's a cascading effect. But it all started with a lie. It all started with a lie. Right? It all started with a lie. And they make jokes about it, and I've heard this theory that, April 1st is actually the day that Christ was born. Because April is actually the first day of the true month is and the true calendar that our Lord has instituted, So if we do not align ourselves to this calendar, then we might be doing the whole agricultural thing wrong. So they named the first day of April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day. The fool, right? Who is the fool? The fool is the jester, a person who makes a fool out of themselves, makes a fool out of themselves for the sake of entertaining royalty. Joker, jester, the fool, the prince. Do you remember the story of David dancing naked? He, at that particular time, if you see that image over there, you remember what God did to that woman for bad-mouthing David. Because the Lord was watching, and he found it funny. So at that particular time, David took on what the symbolism of today's culture and pop culture known as the Joker or the jester, right? There's a slight difference between the jester and the Joker, right? But the jester, entertainer of royalty. So he was entertaining the King of Kings, right? So, yeah, there might be some truth in that. I don't know, I don't know. It's a thing that we can get back to. It's a thing we can get back to. But it's just food for thought. It's just a food for thought. But the most thought-provoking is just the phrases of the moon. Yeah, the phrases of the moon. If they are telling of seasons, then our times should be aligned to these seasons and not the other way around, where we actually lose time. Makes us feel like we are sharing our fate with these demons, that their time is about to run out. So yeah, that's a world of symbolism we are living in. But that's not enough. Let's get to the pictures and stuff. Well, like I've said, today we're going to talk about the color blue, right? And here it says exposing your eyes to blue light, or white, which includes blue light. Okay, there's some light that is white, but within it contains blue light. Okay, these energy serving bulbs, these energy saving bulbs that are popular these days, right? These are the cause of insomnia, right? They cause insomnia by triggering some reactions within the brain using the photoreceptors in the brain, and it explains here the circadian rhythm, right? Our sleeping cycles. That's why people have trouble sleeping these days. Insomnia is such a big problem, and people keep taking pills, and it's a big industry. This sleeping pill industry is a huge different industry, and it's all, what's the tool and the mechanism? One of it is actually blue light. We have blue light in our mobile phones. We have blue light in the bulbs that literally light our homes in the dark, which makes it more effective Okay, and we have blue light in our eyes now, right? We have the VR things that literally project blue light into our eyes. That will cause the distortion of time. Okay, it's all about time, right? They will try to play with time and be gods and stuff like that. You know, they are controlling people's circadian rhythm. You know how dangerous that is. Remember the whole situation about I talked about people with hearts and brain situation. Yeah, sleep is in the midst of that vortex. Okay, and people keep recommending, I don't know, 8 hours or 13 hours. Then like who who told you this? Why 8 hours? That is my question. They give all these scientific answers, but again I ask them, are these results consistent? Okay, because we are talking about real life here. People eat different things, people do different type of jobs. This circadian rhythm is not being obeyed. This law that was created by the creator is actively under attack, so people keep dying. That is just the color blue. If it is abused, it becomes a dangerous weapon, a very dangerous weapon, and we're gonna see this theme across our explorations, right? So they're actually photoreceptors in your eyes. You know, no wonder they made these RGB screens, you know, because they reflect. The whole screen is literally your eye, so you're looking these technologies eye to eye, right? And they are projecting blue beams in your eyes and affecting your circadian rhythm. If you don't know what it is, then you can Google it and find out in detail what it is. So what we have here, this is a paper. For those who like papers, you can look at this. Okay, they try to tie UV and blue light, but it's really about blue light. UV is just our eyes interpreting that light as that, you know. It's just our eyes, you know. You see this situation here? I don't know if people heard about it, but it was in 2030, 2023, September, right? I've told you, the sun and the prince are connected. Then what is this about? Let's talk about the. Let's go back to history. Yeah, we have even cultures that don't. The Russians have 2 words for blue. The Ukrainians have 3. Some others don't even have it. Because I don't know. Right? It's interesting. It's interesting. It's a mystery. It's a mystery color, right? Because there is spiritualism connected to this color. Okay, high levels of spiritualism connected to this color. Okay, that's why I say the Prince of Judah, the color is blue. I usually say that, right? Blue, blue, blue. Even the devil tries to copy, blue, blue, blue. Because we know whatever the devil does mirrors what God is doing. Yeah, that's what it is, because there's no creativity with them. They can't. To be creative, you have to be in touch with the creator. Okay. So let's go further on. There isn't really a blue color pigment in nature. What is happening? The sun reveals the prince. This is what God is telling the earth. The sun reveals the prince. This is just a mystery, right? The sun reveals the prince. So the behaviors of the sun, you know, the first form of sorcery that Babylon has taught the children of God is astronomy, observing. Okay, they are doing all of this scientific work, so they say right now, but back then it was just observing the movements and recording those movements and studying any type of phenomenon that occurs. So we see all of these blue colors on animals and plants, but in reality it is a work of art. It's a work of art. Okay, it's a work of art, and it can be seen by this car, blue, right? We are continuing with blue. These are the remember, these pictures are not in any way sequences, so you consume them individually and as a whole. I don't know if that makes sense. I couldn't organize them. Okay, it's impossible to organize them using the app. It does it by itself, and it's a whole situation. Okay, and these are the color palettes, right? And now we are going to get into hex. Hex. What is a hex? Right? I am a graphic designer, right? And as a graphic designer, to overcome any type of mistakes done by, I don't know, working with color, right? Because in printing it's a big issue, right? Even people go for a long time picking what color they particularly want, you know. So we have learned to be really careful of what type of color, because trust me, there are many colors. So they have created this system they call the hex. So every color shade has a particular hex. Okay, hex, H-E-X, hex. So yellow has its hex, and all variations of yellow, they all have their own separate hexes, right? So the word hex is going to be important. Yeah? So these are the combinations of blue. Okay, now you can see all of the other Prince loyalty colors here, right? They are all in this situation here, right? And now we're going back to pop culture. Okay, we'll come back to that hex situation. Okay, from pop culture. Okay, this is what they wrote. Snow White, Cinderella, Belle, Aurora, Elsa, Jasmine, Ariel, Alice, and Wonderland. They all wear the color. Okay, they do it to heroine, female heroes, female messiahs, female princesses, right? You can see even Ariel has Prince Eric, right? They know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about. Okay, so that's why they did the whole movie again. Just to troll people. Because people are sleeping. But I'm here to wake you up. They admit it. They continue. Disney is very traditional in keeping blue associated with their female heroines. It's a tradition. So it's a practice that has been going on for over and over and over, right? And of course, all of these Disney movies are literally simulations, right? The Sleeping Beauty simulation is where the prince is just basically put in a coma. The prince is not dead, So Israel isn't really in danger, but at the same time, it's a dilemma type of situation, yeah? An exact dilemma that would happen if a king would go into coma, right? So they are planning to put me to sleep for a long time. The movie about that female tiny robot they did last year was about them disabling me. Upgrade was about them disabling my back, literally making me disabled to just determine the efforts. All of these movies are simply exactly that, simulations. They are exactly simulations on how they can conquer the prince, right? So let's look at the hex of the Prince Loyal Blue. Right, this is the hex, right? In RGB it is 96 96 11 11 11. What does that mean? Red 96 value, okay, 96 value of red, 96 value of green, and 101 of blue. You get this particular color, right? And the hex of it, here is the work of the devil. This is the curse, okay? Remember, we shall talk about the hex. What does it mean? 666 over there, right? And the F is also a 6, right? It's gonna be relevant in a minute. Right? What is a hex? Right? Third person hexes, cast a spell or bewitch. He hexed her with his fingers. A magic spell, a curse. Right? So they used numbers to curse the prince, right? They used these numbers to curse the prince, right? Because colors are part of identity. That's why Jesus wore purple. Have you ever seen purple? He wore purple. It's quite interesting, right? Because he knew who he was and he was projecting that out. Even me in my life, before, even prior to knowing that who I was, I used to pick clothing that pertained to these colors. Now I look at my clothing, like they all fall under the fall under the palette that the hex follows under, right? So lucky number for a prince, 11. Look at that, 11, right? Remember the hex, right? The hex for blue is 111. Okay, so more curses, right? So I touched upon this in the other situation, right? Lions and eagles, right? These are the kings. The only king is Judah. The only king. There's no other can produce the king, a true king, right? Just like the mythos of Arthur being able to pull the sword out of the sword out of the rock. What do you think that's about? That's the devil looking for the king to kill. So he set up this elaborate trap that the prince alone will trigger. And that is, in other terms, is that astronomy situation, right? They're just looking at the sky. They see the sky is acting weird. Okay, they know, okay, it's time. Just like in the Transformers, yeah? They see a sign in the sky. Even in the scriptures, they talk about signs in the sky. They are important. Signs in the sky, they are important. Okay? They are important. They are parts of prophecy. So they know. And they have been keeping this knowledge away from people so as they can do their covert operation. And here's me just ruining that covert op. Again, I ask that question. Where do they get lions? So, symbolism for rich animals. Long horns. Long horns are symbolism of wealth, right? Wealth. So if you see all of this depiction of Artemis wrangling a deer, that is translated as Artemis literally wrangling the gifts or the inheritance of Israel. Okay, because that's the real wealth. Okay, that's what they've been doing this whole time. This is what the world needs to know and understand. You have been eating from Israel illegally. You have been eating from the children of God illegally, which makes you highly incriminating. Okay, taking one piece of rock of gold from this land and literally just plundering it. You have literally just launched the hex upon yourself. Okay, that's the trouble that we are in. Okay, that's the trouble that we are in. Okay, people don't recognize their mistakes and they do not want to even recognize them. Right, so long horns. Okay, we're coming back to that back symbolism. Right, so on top of the back is wealth. On top of the king, on top of the prince, is the abundance of wealth for Israel, because these are the promises, right, that God has given Israel. Right, they will become rich. They will not borrow anymore. They will lend. Yeah, they will not become borrowers anymore. They will lend. They will lend people. Okay, now we are borrowers. Because why? Most people are not yet aware of what is happening. So they serve what exists. Okay, they serve what exists. So this is just more symbolism, right? This is just more symbolism, right? They are doing it over and over. So now you know why they are showing deer with long horns, because that horn is inheritance. Yeah, inheritance. It's the wealth. Okay, you inherit wealth. Okay, that's how it is. Okay, wealth is not created, it is inherited. Okay, that has to get through people's minds. Wealth is not created, it is inherited. Okay, so all of this struggle of people trying to quote unquote create wealth, that effort is futile, because this wealth that emerges from plowing the ground is not sustainable in any way. You're better off investing in the heavens. That gives a better return. That offers a better return in your own investment. Right? So develop your spiritual side and everything else will follow. Okay, so me here, I'm trying to blur those lines between all of these factions within society and try to make people realize that we are dealing with the same people, we are dealing with the same issues, and all of us are actually connected, even though we live in these separate boxes, what we call occupations or life, but in reality we are all in it. We're all in it. Okay, what does the symbol does the prince use? Okay, another curse, an arrow pointing up, a crossbar pointing down. Okay, now try to imagine that. If you don't spell Apollo. Huh? Yin and yang. Eh? Look at what I've been talking about. You know, I've been saying whatever calamity that's been happening to the world has all been in preparation for me coming out and them launching a war. Okay, the symbol is a combination of the male and female gender symbols. Okay, so you understand the Prince, the musician Prince, why you understand now why he is like that, right? He's acting like a woman and still he's a man, because he himself was a simulation, right? That's why he had on his cheek the word slave. You know what do that mean? Okay, they were mocking the prince. Okay, that's why he wore purple. Yeah, because he was really a prince. Yeah, he was really a prince. Now we see the new prince, Real Nas X, right? He is like full on. He's like out there. Let's go on. Okay. Female gender symbols, with an arrow pointing up and a crossbar pointing down, right? The army uses this. Yeah, it is meant to represent the merging of opposites. Okay, have you seen how esoteric that went? How do you remember? I told you, like, the ones that are in control of the records are in control of memory, right? And today with AI, they can literally just add people seamlessly and make videos of people talking without them talking and with just a few pictures. So we are dealing with a couple maniacs that are trying to pull something here, and people need to recognize, right? So all of these quote unquote Mandela effects, this is just them playing with you. Okay, this is them playing with you. So how does a prince somehow coming to, I don't know, meant to represent the merging of opposites? Okay, they are trying to talk about Adam, you know. I've heard this about esoteric, and this is an esoteric situation. Okay, before Eve was created, Adam, they say, was both male and female, right? Like angels. Yeah, they do not have gender. Yeah, they do not have gender. So let's go on with this esoteric meaning, such as yin and yang, and was a way for a prince to express his gender fluidity and embrace his feminine side. Can you believe this? Yeah, and it was somehow, this product was 15 July 2023. Look at this esoteric meaning. What does this symbol does Prince use? So they are talking esoteric. This is the esoteric meaning that Hollywood has been pressing on people. Okay, and I've said it before, like the Prince, the artist, which they are actually explaining here, is that mockery. It's that mockery that has been going on for a long time, and people have not really understood why. It's a hex, it's a curse. Okay, if they are not, they do not, they are planning, like, what if we turn him to a gay person, right? What if we turn them to a gay person? They even made a gay bomb. I don't know if you know about this. They made an ammunition out there that makes people gay. right? That is just them disclosing and coming out, you know. And trust me, I have had my fair share of the devil trying to turn me gay. Okay, that's a whole other story. Okay, this is just a war. Okay, and people have to get to understand that, you know, it's a war, and it's a very serious war. Eh? It's not fun and giggles. Eh? We are in so much trouble. Okay, so what are the symbols of loyalty? Right? Lion and a crown. Again, going back to that. The color hex. So in this gray color, right? Gray color of iron. It has 101 ratio of blue. So it is blue. So they are deceiving the world. They can't be wearing gray out here. It's not that attractive nor controversial. It is a highly conservative. They call even spies, gray men, right? Because it is not meant to glorify the wearer. It is an important color, but it is not meant to exalt the person that wears it. Okay, but the blue, that illusion of loyalty that they are wearing, which is the blue color, which does not exist, it is just an effect of ultraviolet light interacting with materials. Then you understand that, yeah, these people are liars. And it's right there in front of our eyes. I mean, look at the spell here, you know. There are actually many variations of this hex. Some of them they use FFF, as you see there, and some of them use 666. So this is one of their curses among many, right? Like I've said, you know, the devil uses and copies God, okay? Copies God to make his own kingdom, because all of the attempts that he has done to make a kingdom, they have failed. All of these civilizations have failed. Okay, only Judah was successful. Okay, every civilization they start collapses. Every civilization they start collapses. Every civilization they start collapses, and calamities and all of these things happen to them. So they figure, okay, you know what? Let's go back to Judah. Let's go back to Judah, about the only civilization that will be backed by the Creator, by abundance and blessings and wealth. Let's go to these people, form a communion with them. All go one, we go all. And then simulate, just like in the movie They Cloned Tyrone. They say assimilation is better than annihilation. Okay, that was a heavy statement for me. If you connect that to the whole church, that the whole conspiracy is happening under Mount Zion, people need to wake up to what is happening over here. Jim, people keep telling you, you know, that guy before he went to the hospital, Jimmy Fox, yeah, he posted something very suspicious on the social webs, you know. He said, like, if they kill Jesus, you know, what do you think they'll do to you? And people jumped on him because they are in their emotions, you know. The message is not for them. They're in their emotions. Okay, he was telling me, okay, because they know I have watched that movie. Okay, they know when exactly I watched that movie. And now they're telling me about you, that I should not trust you. You Israelites are the ones that killed Jesus. But did you? Okay, so you need to get like there's another layer to this reality, you know. Who was Jimmy Fox talking to, do you think, with that post? Was he anti-Semitic as everything, as they try to excuse everything that these people keep saying? Are they anti-Semitic? I don't think so. I think the message is not delivered to the right person. That's why there is some misinformation. To me, they make hella sense. They make hella sense, and they're warning me that you people will betray me and kill me. That's what these people are saying. And that's what the whole movie is about. To grab my attention so as they can say that. What do you think they want? They want me to go over there in Babylon and save their situation. So as their kingdom, their works cannot be destroyed. Apollo cannot pull it off. Apollo has done it many times. Over and over. It has failed. And this is a fact. So, what is at stake here? A lot is at stake here. Like, a lot. Okay? A lot is at stake here. So, they want me for prosperity. For their own prosperity. So does Israel. So what do you think that means? Fire and ice coming together. Now, if I wasn't aware of their ways and their deceptive situations, then we'll be hella trouble. But again, God loves us. God loves me for showing me all of these things and all of these hexes that these people have cast upon me. Right? So let's talk a little bit about this product that the Apple has produced. Really, it's a dangerous product. It's Operation Warp Speed. They figured, remember, I talked about their stages, right? That they move from screens to augmented realities to virtual realities. Okay, but the headsets that Apple has released have really blurred that line between VR and AR, augmented reality and virtual reality. It has literally blurred the line. Okay, by function, as of now, those goggles are augmented reality goggles. Okay, because what reaches your eye has something added upon it, but the feed, the question then becomes on the technicality. The feed that you see in those goggles, it's not actually what they call a pass-through, something like that. It's a rendered image. Okay, these cameras record the space and they bring it back to your screen. So there is a level of processing when it comes to colors and stuff like that, right? So it is not really by function. It is, as of now, it is an augmented reality, but in reality it is a virtual reality set. The whole experience, the person consuming, from that perspective, from the person consuming, that is a virtual reality headset. And people keep saying and keep insisting that it is augmented. No, it's not augmented reality. Those Ray-Bans, augmented reality glasses, those maybe. But that thing, that was and is a virtual reality headset. So where are we going? The next frontier in reality is sensation. Yeah, sensation. We already have the visual down pat, right? We have high resolution displays like it's nobody's business, right? We have high resolution cameras like it's nobody's business, but we are not yet able to have a immersive virtual experience, and that immersiveness comes with a suit of some kind which can make you kind of feel what is over there, further blurring that line, and this has like many. Okay, remember, this is like the dream world. Okay, remember I talked about dreams, that when you dream there's actually a chemical that disables your body from enacting those things in your dreams, so as you do not hurt yourself while dreaming, right? So this will cause people to basically lock themselves inside. Okay, they need to lock themselves inside, because these headsets, if they get issues with the cameras or the image are hacked, okay, remember what they are consuming from their eyes is purely an virtual experience. It's a virtual experience. Okay, it's a virtual experience. It's not an augmented experience. It's a virtual experience as a whole. Okay, as today, by practice, this is the double edge sword of the serpent. So this movie, I think, covers it basically pretty well, and what's the purpose of this movie? It's a love story. Even this movie is a love story, right? He falls in love with a girl with a scar on her cheek. He doesn't even know. Okay, so this is just the merging of the seeds again. Okay, this is just the merging of the seeds. So they think maybe if we create a mutual situation where we share common interests, then perhaps we can form a kingdom. But again, kingdoms are not only formed by similarities but also differences. But again, it's just a deception. I'm gonna call it what it is. It's a deception. It's a trick. They're trying to trick me into working with them. Okay, they have even gone as far as to threaten me and threaten my loved ones, so as they can save their little pagan kingdom, because they know it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end, right? So you can watch this movie, and exactly, it's a love story, right? It's a love story. It's about this guy finding love in the virtual space, right? So they're putting out the possibility out there, right? And this girl, with a scar, she's a rebel, and she's trying to take down the system. And basically, these are just archetypes of the prince, them just running simulations, one's running simulations, trying out different scenarios. And one of their scenarios that they are working on right now, fast and quick, is that virtual situation, right? They need to get close, to infiltrate, okay? Because over there, race will disappear, right? In virtual space, race just disappears. It's not a thing. because over there you can literally just become a box, a talking box. Can a person be a racist to a talking box? Then they hate your skin, they hate what you see. Now there is a blue light in front of their eyes controlling what they see for the sake of fake peace. People are in so much trouble and they don't know it, they don't feel it. Even those who try to wake people up, they are asleep also. They don't even know what is happening around them. And it's not a responsibility to know. It's such a big burden to bear. Trust me. It takes from you. It takes from you. And if you are not the one, then you'll probably die of despair. But for me, I say it, and I'm able to bear it, and I'm able to address it here in this meticulous manner that I'm doing here, right? Yeah, this video is gonna be a headache, but yeah. So why is her wife being all naked like this? Because she is the whore. She is acting like the whore. Just like our High Spice, she's just out here acting like a prostitute. Just like Megan Thee Stallion, acting like a prostitute. Why? It's because they are talking in symbolism. They are talking in symbolism. Just like Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez situation. That gunshot. What do you think that gunshot was about? Gunshot to the foot. Giving that nigga a limping leg. What do you think the limping leg is about? Jacob wrestling with the angel, right? So the angel in that particular manner, in that particular situation, is Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, and she is definitely channeling the Babylonian spirit. So as this woman here, right? So I don't know if you know this, but black is also color of loyalty. So as like the end of spectrum of every color is black and white, right? So it is also included in the palette. So here is the ritual. Here is me in the future. Like I've said before, being paired with, that's why we see these NBA players, all of these black artists being paired with these white people. Okay, it's just the symbolism of them cross-bleeding. Not the white race, but the reptilians and the prince. So this guy here, that's why he's out of his mind. He's playing with things that he shouldn't be. Just like Boseman Chadwick, he shouldn't be playing the prince. It's a terrible idea. You can't even pretend to be me. It's a terrible idea, right? So here, so now they are admitting that they have been making these vaccines out of chickens, right? So what does this tell? Let me phrase it like this. We have all been genetically modified. Okay, we have been genetically modified to make us basically vulnerable to weapons that Apollo and his cronies will use to force our hands to merge our kingdom with theirs for the sake of their survival, for the sake of them buying time. But the day that happens is the day that Israel will be in trouble, because the devil will again have power over Israel because they have forsaken God. Me going into union with these people is me forsaking God. And when the king of Israel forsakes God, then you know what happens. I don't even need to repeat it here. You read your Bible and you'll know. That's why the attack is focused mainly on one person. Okay, so here they are trying to I don't know, clean house or come out or whatever. But we done been living in the real life, we don't need people to tell us none. Okay, I done told you. Okay, every time if I want to know if there's a biological agent in the sky, it's quite simple. When I just walk in the room, my presence alone will tell me, yo, we have been hit by a weapon. Okay, if I get close to 6 people and they start coughing immediately as I get close to them, yeah, that's me healing them. The Lord has put that in me, that wherever I go, I heal people, unintentionally. Right? So when they get close, they cough. I've seen it in birds, and in people, and in other mammals, right? So they have just made us vulnerable by altering our DNA, making us vulnerable to all of these plethora of these diseases that they can then, use as a weapon later on. They've used pigs. We have talked extensively about pigs here, right? They have used pigs to produce, I don't know, human organs and stuff like that, And they're not really giving anything here. They're moving away from chicken embryos. Intranasal administration. Intranasal administration. Okay? Your nose goes up to your forehead, right? Intranasal administration. This is not about, they're talking about two different things. This is the okay? We do not have issues with how you administer the thing. Okay, the most effective way to deliver immediate relief again is through puncturing the skin. Okay, but also the nose is a pretty good way to deliver medication to the blood directly. Okay, on accounts of, if you can bond and pretend to have properties so as you can fool the body, or make a vulnerability, a backdoor of kind, into people's bodies so as you can they are moving away from chicken embryos, and now they are talking, what are they going to use to culture, so they say, these antibodies. Where? Okay, we have seen the papers of how they did with the COVID situation, right? They use snakes, rats, bats, dogs, cats. Every type of chimeric experimentation was going on, and people were getting injected with this chimeric, and people are sitting there looking at me like they're not supposed to be like consequences to this abuse of the temple of God. Like, I'm not supposed to say none. I'm supposed to just look at you like some sort of a savior while you rape me with this needle here. Like, this world is nuts, man. So, like, Elon Musk is like I've said, he's the agent of the devil himself. He knows the devil. If you want to find the devil, just find Elon Musk. Ask him where is the devil is residing. He will tell you. And he tell you he over there in New York, Nick. Why are they buying terminals? because the warfare is shifting. Yeah? This is yeah. Some East African countries done got the Starlink for free, while out here niggas are buying that stuff in secret, so Elon Musk cannot know where his satellites are actually broadcasting. This is basically a joke for anybody who doesn't really know technology and how it works. So you're telling me like he was able to turn off the situation over there in Gaza, but now he can't do it in Russo? Like what? Because these people are in cahoots, and that makes it even darker than it is, right? Yes, it is dark, but it's actually more. It's worse. It's worse. This is a book by a person that calls himself Jews, but he's not a Jew. The Little Nigger Boys, 10 Little Dollies. Nigger. Wow. The pairing. You see the colors? Red, the pants, because they knew loyalty, right? The particular colors that this Negro and all the Negroes are wearing, their symbolism of loyalty, right? Their symbolism of loyalty. So all of these colors here are not some sort of... Do I need to show you the palette? Let me show you the palette again. You niggas think I'm joking. This is the palette. This is the palette. So they've been knowing that Negroes is Judah. They've been knowing. Literally the word Negroes shows that Negroes existed over there in Europe. More of that programming, right? You mentioned Taylor Swift and Ice Pierce. Now they are besties with the inverted cross and whatever. The internet reacts, giving buzz, playing their card. This is them trying to save themselves. I saw this picture, it was something, right? He had future ideas, man, You're so far into the future, yet in a nation who are so behind. His thoughts will become relevant in the near future. Trust me. I called upon him back in a while, so his mission is not done, believe it or not. He's not done. Even over there, niggas gonna help. So fascists that want to kill the prince. This is what we are dealing with today. How about that? Who expected that? So anyway, General Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.